Welcome to the Pest Life on the Pest Geek Podcast. This is a raw, unedited show that gives you a glimpse about the men and women in our industry. From owners and techs to business and family, we got you covered. This is the Pest Life, and I am your host, Nick Madero. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Pest Life. Today we got a special guest, Mr. Vincent Errante. Did I pronounce that right, Vinny?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, well, how do you, just so everybody knows?
Vincent Errante.
Errante. All right.
Errante, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now I got it. And he's with EcoWise Pest Control in New York City, New York, the concrete jungle where dreams are made of, right?
Yeah, we service New York City, New Jersey, parts of Connecticut and Pennsylvania. But our headquarters is in New York City, Manhattan.
There you go. You guys heard it. It's from the Big Apple. So Vinny, you want me to call you Vinny or Vincent?
Yeah, Vinny's fine. That's fine with me.
Okay. Just checking, man. I don't like being called Nicholas. I like being called Nick.
You got it.
My son is Nicholas. I'm Nick. You know.
my nephew is actually a Nicholas as well.
Is he? Does he go by Nicholas or Nick?
We call him Nicholas.
Yeah. See, my son, we call him Nicholas. He doesn't like it now that he's in fourth grade. He likes to be called Nick, but he's a little Nicholas, you know?
Of course.
When you start getting older, you want to kind of change your name, man. I used to hate my name when they'd call me Nicholas in school. And then in middle school is when I started telling everybody, man, just call me Nick. It's just better that way.
I mean, Vinny, I went through that as well. All throughout school, like my last name would get called all different ways. But I understand what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, it's just a name, man. I don't even know why my mom named me that. There's nobody in the family with that name. I'm the only one. But I'm also the black sheep, so that probably explains it, right? So, Vinny, tell us a little bit about yourself and your family life, man.
Basically, 40 years old, got into pest control in 1999, married since 2008, traditional Italian upbringing. I figure you get that from the accent there. Basically, live a very, simple life. Enjoy sports, fixing cars, helping people out. Right. Simple things in life. Nothing complicated.
That's a good thing, man. Keep it simple, right?
Exactly. That's the best way to go.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all, man. So you've been married since 2008, you said?
Yeah, I've been married since 2008.
Okay.
My wife's name is Janet. She actually works in the television industry.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah. So we also live in Manhattan and Chelsea, in Manhattan.
Okay.
And like I said, simple life. Happy wife, happy life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That's my motto. She's right, I'm wrong. Well, at least I let her think that anyway, right?
There you go.
So what brought you into the industry?
Well, I mean, basically, I started out in a totally different industry.
Right.
I actually started out in the HVAC industry, and I was working in a union. And what had happened is, lack of work, and I basically was out of work for a good 6 months, and I need to work because that's who I am. I can't stay still.
Right.
And a friend of mine said, "Hey, why don't you look into doing like exterminating part time until you can get back into the union, etc." So I had went to a school downtown Brooklyn, New York college institution. I can't really recall the name. But anyhow, I did the required classes. I took the test, passed, got my technician's license, and my journey began there. I actually was promised a job but didn't get it. But eventually I started working for like a very small company, which in my opinion was like the reason I stayed in the pest control industry, because I basically, got to be independent, and I learned, much more than working at a bigger company where they just throw you out to the wolves and you're just a number.
Right, I can understand that totally, man. So that started in '99 when you got into the industry?
Yeah, I got into the industry around 1999.
Okay, so that's the year I graduated, man.
I'm a veteran.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. We learn from veterans, right?
Hey, listen, we learn from each other, actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
I'm not a super tech. I don't, I would never claim to be. Like, I like to bounce things off of different guys and get different opinions.
Right.
Because that's the best way to develop a company.
I get what you're saying, man. I'm one of those people too. I think if somebody thinks they know everything, it's time to go and do something else,
Exactly.
Always constantly learning in this industry, that's for sure. I mean, it changes so much,
Well, that's basically like a pillar to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, knowledge is power. And,
exactly.
Knowing your field, knowing your business, that's basically gonna, take you to where your vision is. I always say, you take care of your customers and the business takes care of itself.
Right.
But in order to take care of your customers, you need to know your business.
Yeah, and we had that discussion yesterday, man. For those of you that don't know, me and Vinny talked for about 3 hours yesterday, and he's asking me about my business. And there's some questions I had no clue. I didn't know. So what I've been doing today is trying to punch those numbers in and figure all that stuff out, man.
Yeah, well, basically, what you want to do is it's called break-even analysis. You want to figure that out so exactly how many man hours you need in order for you to turn profit.
Right.
A lot of guys, they jump into the business and they throw numbers out. They don't even know if they're making money, if they're not making money. You really need to be organized in any type of business.
Right. You can't just play business, man. You actually got to be a businessman, man. And I learned a lot yesterday in that conversation, which took a lot of notes in a 3-hour conversation we had. Just learned a lot, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me yesterday. It gave me some great insights, and we're going to start applying some of those things we talked about.
It was my pleasure, Thank you. Thank you for your vote of confidence and, giving me this opportunity to be on the podcast. I want to thank everyone that's involved in it. And, if I could be of any assistance in any way, feel free to contact me. I have no problems with that.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be people. I'm sure there'll be people reaching out to you, man. So I know you did HVAC. How do you feel like that industry of being an HVAC before pest control has helped you in your success?
Well, basically, I've been in business all my life. My father, my uncles, my grandfather, they were all businessmen. They were all self-employed. So basically, I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So I've been in various industries, from the food industry to construction, HVAC, etc. But I mean, basically, what I really got out of it is getting to know people and using that to basically put me on the road to building my company to where it is. You know, because customer service is very important.
Right.
And basically, if you have bad customer relations and retention, you're not going to have a business. So my advice to a lot of the young guys that are getting into the field, take your time, learn your customers, and eventually you're going to learn that there's 4 types of customers. And out of the 4, you're only going to want 2, unfortunately. But that's the way the cookie crumbles.
I get it, man. I get it. And back to the customer service, man, that's like being that and I think being a people person are 2 things that you have to have as a technician, man. I see a lot of people in the industry that I've worked with at my last company that just weren't very friendly. They weren't people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they struggled to their retentions were always high, they didn't have good retention rate. And they always wonder why my retention was always like at 99 and above, or I think the lowest I ever had was like a 97. And I'm like, you got to get to know your customers, know their kids' names, know their pets' names. You built that relationship up, and that's one thing. It's hard to fire somebody that's your friend, that you consider a friend.
Yeah, well, again, in any type of business where you're involved in service or you're selling some type of product, if you don't build rapport with customers,
right.
Okay, you're going to be out of business quickly.
Exactly.
You're going to be out of business quickly. So basically, not to regurgitate what you said, but you need to, learn the kids' names, things that they're involved in. Maybe you want to sponsor something that they're involved with. Like, for instance, we're proud to say that, we basically support autism. Okay,
right.
we deal with a organization out here in Staten Island, but it's called Families Helping Families. It's basically, we help people that need to get, proper schooling and so on and so forth. And we throw events for the children, and we have people that donate from DJ services to the food to the hotel. And
right.
We're proud to get behind that, and that right there is basically I'm helping someone, but I'm also helping my business get
right.
its name out.
And that's always good when you can be involved in your community and bring awareness to things like that. I mean, that's something that if anybody listening to this, you got to be involved in the community some sort, helping people, but it also helps you at the end because people will see that you're involved in the community. You're getting your name out there. When they think they have an issue or something, they'll call you first.
Exactly. Like, if you're getting into this industry for the money, I advise you not to, because
right.
basically, money is just a product of success.
Right.
That's how I look at it. If you're getting into this industry to, be a ranter that you're making millions and billions, and you might as well just stay out of it because that's not what pest control is about.
Right.
Pest control is about selling a value, okay, and helping a person that's in a situation at that particular time.
Now,
Sure, go ahead.
What do you, as far as in the industry, what is it that you enjoy about this industry?
Well, I enjoy it all, from getting to meet people on a daily basis to, solving problems, to going to, different seminars and events as far as, education is concerned, and meeting some of pest control icons from Joe Barilla at Bayer to John Murphy from Lipotech, Steve Walsh from White Meyer Microgen, and that's like a throwback type of company there,
right.
as well as attending seminars with Dr. Robert Corrigan at the New York City Rodent Academy. And if anybody
right.
from New York City is listening to this podcast, I highly recommend looking up New York City Rodent Academy and attending it, because the knowledge and techniques that you will learn in that course will take you to the next level of integrated pest management.
Knowledge is power, man, and any education you guys can get, it's for
Exactly.
the best. It's only going to help you become a better technician and know the industry ins and outs, of the education part itself just speaks volumes, What is something that you enjoy to do on your downtime? Let's get out of pest control talk. Yeah, let's talk about what you like to do for fun on your downtime.
On my downtime, I'm a really big soccer fan. I love playing the game. I love watching the game. I also enjoy chess.
That's one of my favorite games, man. You believe it or not,
you gotta get together, man.
Yeah, man. Like when I was a kid, I used to play checkers all the time, and my mom was a big thing. She was in the chess club when she was in high school, and I remember her she had a board, and I would sit there and I'd try to figure it out. Finally, one day she sat down and she taught me how to play, and I just fell in love with the game. It's just all, you think about 3 or 4 moves before you do that first move, you know what I mean? And just the game of it all, it's like in life, it's just a game, you just got to move where you need to move and do what you need to do, and it just applies to a bunch of stuff, man. It keeps you thinking.
Yeah, it keeps the mind sharp and focused because it's a game of strategy.
Right.
It also teaches you about, in a sense, professionalism,
right.
where, because the game is so intense. But that's that. I've been playing chess ever since junior high school. I love the game. A lot of people, they make fun of me, but I don't care what anyone says. But I enjoy the game. I'm also into a little of the computer side of things, some SEO stuff, website design and development. I'm not a whiz at it, but I can handle my. Yeah, I dabble in it a little bit. I'm also into cars, like antique cars, American muscle cars. That's one of my biggest hobbies. I have I don't even know how many of them, but I have quite a few. I have a nice 66 Chevelle Super Sport.
Oh wow.
That's one of my hobbies, cars.
One thing, man. I'm from the West Coast. One thing I've always wanted, and I'm gonna have it one day, is a '64 Chevy Impala. But I don't want the lowrider version, man. A lot of my friends, a couple of friends that I have those. I like the original classic '64. That's my dream car, man. I'm gonna have that one day.
I had a '67. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but I had a '67 Roadrunner with a four barrel cam on it. The thing with, when we had to chain the engine down the horsepower that it produced.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't street legal, but I have a good friend of mine, Rob Schneider, and we go out to Englishtown in New Jersey, and he's into that drag racing type thing. So I support him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is this the actor, Rob Schneider?
No. No.
I was gonna say, man, with his movies and the way he portrays himself, I don't think he'd be into muscle cars. You know what I mean? Especially after watching
he's like on the other. On the other.
He's like one of those. Yeah, the way he looks is like one of those eco, battery operated Tesla or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
those Volkswagen vans or something like that.
Yeah.
So what's one thing that people don't know about you? What's something that just something that nobody probably knows about you that you're willing to share on the podcast?
I would say trying to word this.
And don't say you have 3 nipples or 6 toes or something, bro.
No, none of that.
I'm teasing, man. I'm teasing.
I guess my demeanor. A lot of people think that I'm, being, that I run multiple companies and so on and so forth. That I'm one of these
snobby
cold,
type guys.
Yeah, cold or snobby type of CEOs. I'm not.
Right.
I actually enjoy conversing with different industries, same industry. It doesn't really bother me,
Right.
But some people, I guess maybe it's the way I look that they that's the perception. But
right.
I'm totally opposite of that. I'm very giving, and if I can help you, I'll give you the shirt off my back.
Right. Just in the conversation we had yesterday, man, I felt that about you. Just genuine and just very knowledgeable and helpful, man. And like I said earlier, I appreciate it, man. And I know there's a lot of people that get these big companies, and for some reason or another, it's like they think they're too good to help anybody, man. And I don't get that from you. I get that you're just a down-to-earth guy and willing to help people, which is awesome.
Well, the reason for it is because I started from the bottom. All I had was a desk, a $200 Dell computer, and a telephone. I'm not like a lot of these guys that a lot of these guys that I see in the industry that, daddy gave him the company. I built it from the ground up. So, I had my bumps, I had my ups and downs, I had my hardships, and I had, the success that I'm finally at now. It takes time. A lot of people think that you could build a company overnight. It's not going to happen. You have to, your hard work and dedication is going to get you to where you want to be.
Right.
And
that also helps you to appreciate what you have. You know what I mean? Like when you start from the bottom and just grind it out and hustle. I mean, people see the success, but they don't see all the stuff that goes along with it. Sleepless nights, blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep.
It just gets you to appreciate what you have because you know that, you came from nothing, not necessarily nothing, but you came from the bottom and just rose your way up.
That's exactly what I did. My family, I'm Sicilian. That's my upbringing. And basically my family came from another country, didn't know the language, and they did quite well for themselves, and they wanted better for their children. And basically, back to what I was saying, that's, I've been involved in business all my life, and people ask me all the time, they hire this, they hire that. When you first start your business, you want to take it slow, and, you're going to learn the things you need to learn. Eventually, you're going to delegate, and you're going to basically outsource certain things, and that's how you build your company, But in the beginning, you want to concentrate on your business operations, your technician training, your customer relations, and basically, documentation to me is like, the key to everything, because without documentation, you're putting yourself in harm's way.
Right.
Getting a piece of paper is easy, as far as licensing, and I see, all these new certifications that are popping up left and right that you can pay for. But the best way to go about it is to actually, do the work yourself, and, again, hard work, dedication. That's the best way to go about it.
I agree with you on that. Now let's change it up a little bit. What is a good book recommendation that if anybody was starting a business, it could be about business, could be about life. What book recommendation would you give out to somebody that asked you?
Book recommendation. Let's see here. I have a lot of books, Nick.
I figured you did, man. I figured you did, man. But which one? Just one that sticks out that you think will help people. Like I said, it could be about business, could be about personal, inspirational, anything.
Well, the first book you want to get, and you want to read it quite a few times if you can, is basically A Malice, because that right there is going to take you to the next level. Before you even get into marketing and so on and so forth, you want to get in. You want to get The Malice. You want to get any type of technical service manuals out there. Learn about chemical, modes of action, like we were talking about yesterday.
Right.
Those books right there, I would highly recommend first. You could basically, I'm trying to remember the name of the book. It was actually really great. The man who wrote it, rest in peace, he passed away recently. It was a really great book on marketing. I think it was called, can't remember it. But, again, you want to try to get books like Pest Management Operations. That's a good book. Oh, here we go. I just pulled it up. This is one of the books I would highly recommend. It's called Bug People to Business People. This is going to show. It's basically, this book is going to transform your mind. A lot of guys get into the business, and what do they think about? Oh, I got to spray. I have to spray this. But you also need to learn the business side of the industry.
Right.
A very good book. Also, another very good book to read if you want to get into the marketing side of things. It's called Marketing Matters. It's a very good book. It has different types of models because basically, I know guys, whoever's listening to this is from different states, and there's different techniques that you need to learn, to where you're operating at. But that's a really good book to read as well.
What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote?
Quotes any favorite quotes or something that you say constantly, man? Because there's something you told me yesterday, a quote that's been stuck in my head, and I told you about it yesterday. But what's one that's your favorite? And then I'll tell you that quote that you told me yesterday that's been instilled in my head.
One of my favorite quotes is basically quality doesn't cost.
It pays.
It pays.
That's the best. Since you told me that yesterday, it's been literally stuck in my head all day.
I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth,
I have to agree with you, man. You told me that. I wrote it down. I got it circled. I got a notepad just from our conversation yesterday. And that's one of the things I wrote, and I put a big old circle around it. And I've been telling my wife all day. She's been laughing at me. She's like, man, but it makes sense, doesn't it? And I said, it does make sense. Quality doesn't cost. It pays.
Exactly.
It's just, great quote, man. Great quote.
See, a lot of people have the perception that they're selling a service. You're selling quality, you're selling value, you're selling an experience. Okay.
Right.
Some people ask me, how can you charge that much? How can you charge that much? Because I'm selling them quality. The tagline to my company is service quality is our number one priority, which is golden.
And like you told me yesterday, cheap winds up being expensive.
Exactly. I mean, listen, how many times I want whoever's listening to this comment on this one right here, okay? How many times do you get phone calls that you got to go behind some hack that don't even have a license, okay, and fix his problem? And it costs the customer twice the amount of money that she could have spent or he could have spent calling a professional. That's why I always say, call a professional.
Right. That's just like I tell my wife, she's a big Grey's Anatomy fan. And I used to not be into that show, man. I'm like, this is stupid. But then I started watching it, and I'm sitting there, and I always joke with her. I tell her, if something happens to you, I can do a heart surgery right here on my kitchen table. I watched it so many times. I see how they do things, but I tell her, I said, people try to do these, they have pest problems, and we get calls and we give them prices, and I'm going to try to do it myself. And it winds up costing them because they don't know what they're doing.
Exactly.
And I tell them, like, I'm not a doctor. So that does, I'm not going to go and open up my head and do brain surgery on myself. Why would you do your own pest control?
Well, I mean, again, here's another example for you, Nick. How many times are you in a big box store? I'm not going to say names, but you're in a big box store. You're buying, whatever, something to put it, in the garden or whatever the case might be, and you stumble across this pest control section, which I call the water in a can section. Okay.
Right.
And you got all these people there buying stuff that's not going to work. They're spending $50, $60, $70, $100 when they could just call in a professional that's going to come in, do an inspection, pinpoint the reason why you're having the situation, address it, and basically end the story. But again, cheap is expensive.
So every time I go to Walmart, man, I go to that pest control aisle. They got it, here in Pueblo West, the Walmart. They got it next to the toilet paper and cleaning product. They got this whole section of just pest control stuff. And every time I go over there, I get a stack of my cards, man. And I put it right in front where it's eye level, where everybody could see it. I put a stack of cards on it. I've actually got a couple customers that have called from that. I don't think Walmart likes it too much, because they're losing money when people do call me. But it works for me. It works for me.
Believe me, I've been approached many a times in a big box store on, I have this problem, I have that problem. They've tried every spray on the shelf, and finally they give in, and it cost them 3 times the amount that they could have paid the first time.
Oh man, I'll never forget. I had this call, just not to cut you off, but to share this story. I had this call from this lady that she had bed bugs. She was a Spanish-speaking lady, so because I spoke Spanish, she was like, asking, do you speak Spanish? So I got on the phone with her, and she's like, she's telling me that she has bed bugs. She's been fighting with them for about 5 months. If I could come out and give her a price. So I went ahead and charged her an inspection fee. I went out there, inspected the house. I walked in, and right away I couldn't stop coughing. And there was like a mist in this house. The whole house was like a mist. So I go to this bedroom, and she has a towel along the bottom, and she has duct tape around the door. And I'm thinking, like, what is this lady doing? She takes it off. She opens the door. It was like a cloud of freaking dust. This lady used bed bug dust. I don't know where she got it from, but she poured this 3 bottles of dust all over her marble top dressers, nightstands. Her bed was covered. It was just like, wow. It looked like Tony Montana had been hanging out in that room all day, man. It was everything was white, and I'm just like, my goodness, And so we shut the door, and I'm sitting there, and she had him in another room. So I went ahead and gave her a price, and she's like, we've spent like $800 to $900 on stuff to try to get rid of it, and they started in this one room, and now they're everywhere. So I gave her a price, and she agreed to it and everything. And I told her, I said, before I do any work, though, all this stuff has to be cleaned up. So she yells something to her daughter. Her daughter goes in that room with the vacuum, and I'm like, no, lady, that's not how you clean dust. I mean, it was going in the vacuum, coming out the filter. Now it was clogging up. Everything was turning white. It was just, man, but like
nightmare.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this lady doesn't understand. She's breathing that stuff in. She's killing herself, It might not happen right now, but dang, lady, what are you doing? But like you say, knowledge is power, man. So if you don't know what you're doing, any homeowners, I suggest you call a professional, someone that's taking classes and is knowledgeable about pests and bugs and getting rid of them for you, rather than you sitting there with a room all powdered out like Tony Montana had been there,
Hey, I mean, I went to a job one time. We were doing work for a nonprofit organization here in New York City. And
right.
Basically, when we opened the door, the walls were supposed to be white, but there was like streaks of red everywhere because the person that was occupying the room didn't let the management know that this was going on. And when I tell you infested, I mean, the guy had gasoline, and he was putting it on like the tufts of the mattress.
Oh man.
Okay. And basically taking baths with. Have you ever used a product called Styrofab?
Yes.
Okay, Styrofab is an excellent product. I'm not endorsed by them or nothing. I'm just putting that out there for anyone that wants to try it. Basically, he was taking baths in Styrofab. It was out of control. We had to basically get a container and just remove everything, clothes and all. Everything just had to get removed out of there. Treatments. So basically, again, if you need a professional, call a professional, regardless of the industry. Like why risk hurting yourself or someone else?
All your loved ones.
There's plenty of companies out there, including Nick's, myself. If you're on hard times or whatever the situation might be, we work with people. It's
right.
It's not all about dollars and cents.
Right. It's about solving problems.
Exactly. What you put out, you receive in return. That's what a lot of people don't understand.
That's right. I strongly believe in that, man.
That's the reason why a lot of companies have a hard time holding on to technicians because it's all about their pockets. They don't care about their workers. They don't care about And that's the reason why a lot of guys come and go. It's like a revolving door for a lot of companies.
Right. It's just a numbers game, man. That's the thing. It's a numbers game, and they treat it like that, I strongly agree with you on that, man. You got to take care of the people that take care of you.
Exactly.
Got to.
What you put out, you receive,
Right.
If you're out to be, the next billionaire in pest control, trust me, you're going nowhere quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah, you ain't going to last long. You ain't going to last long.
Okay, don't ever inspire to be a volume business, because that won't get you nowhere.
No. And grow slow and steady, man.
Exactly.
Don't try to overdo it. Now I got the couple questions left, but this one's important. It's kind of a funny question.
Sure.
My wife said I shouldn't put this on my question list, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Android or iPhone? Android
iPhone.
or iPhone?
iPhone.
Gosh, I guess I'm the only one in the industry with an Android phone anymore these days. Man.
I actually had an Android phone. Okay, and I mean I had no issues with it, but my wife is when I tell you, like, Apple, she should buy stock in the company. I'll just put it to you like that.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, man, because mine's the same way. My wife, she got her first Apple phone. I think it was the iPhone 5.
Yeah.
And then the 6 came out. She didn't get the 6, but the 6S Plus came out. She went and got the 6S Plus, gave the 5 to my daughter. Then the 7S Plus came out. She got that, gave that one to my other daughter. And then the 8 came out around the 8 came out a little bit before the 10. She got the 8, but she wanted the 10, and the network we using didn't have the 10 out, and they said it wouldn't be out till next year. And then, like, 2 weeks later, after she got the 8S Plus, the 10 came out for the network that we use. So then she's sitting there like, the 10's out, the 10's out, the 10's out. And I'm like, man, I just paid freaking $900 for the 8S Plus. What are you going to do with that one? She's like, well, we'll give it to our oldest daughter. So she gave the 8 to my daughter. My daughter gave the 7 to the other daughter. The other daughter gave the 7 to the 6. My son has a 5. Now, that's the way it is. My son has a 5. My youngest daughter has a 6. My middle daughter has a 7. My oldest daughter has the 8. And my wife has a 10. And I'm the only one in my house with a freaking Android.
Yeah, I had an Android prior. And then again, like, my wife, she just, she's an Apple. She's a fanatic, I would say. Like, if you guys ever come to New York and, we meet up and so on and so forth, like, I'll show you the collection.
Yeah, we got all Apple phones. Well, they got all Apple phones. I have an iPad Pro. Yeah. I don't know what it is. My wife got it for me for Christmas. And then she has the Apple Mac, the laptop. It's kind of a smaller one, whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's an Apple house. I'm the only one that hasn't converted yet. And I think the only reason I haven't converted is because I don't like change when I'm so used to using a phone. I can operate my phone. I don't like changing, but I don't know. It's something I've probably got to break, man, because there's so much more things I can do with Apple, with an iPhone that I can do that I can't do with an Android.
I mean, as far as like at operations at the office, we're like we're Windows, we're Microsoft or Dell. As far as in the field, mostly Apple. We utilize the iPad Mini and Apple phones. Again, it's a bigger platform that you could go on as far as the Android is concerned.
That's one thing. That's something I don't like about Apple. I guess a lot of people do, but I don't. My wife, whenever she texts me on my Android, I'll sit there and I'll read the text real quick and I'll get off and I'll go continue what I was doing. A minute or two later, she'll text me again. I'll look at it again. I'll get off and continue what I was doing. She'll text me again. I'll look at it and she'll say, it shows me on my iPhone that you've seen my message and it was delivered. Respond. Why are you ignoring me? I'm like, damn it, man. I can't get, give me 5 minutes. I'll text you back in a minute. You know what I mean? But that's one thing that I don't like is it tells you when people's seen your thing, so you know if they're ignoring you or not. And my wife, she uses that to her advantage.
I'll be honest with you. I wish we can go back to the days of the flip phone. A lot of people are gonna hate me for saying that because I know there's a lot of tech people out there, but
right.
I mean the to me, those were the days. You know, I remember when we first transitioned into the Palm Pilot. Do you remember that?
Right.
You know, but I mean, you know, you got to go with the times. You know, technology is also another key to, you know, business. You know, you don't want to be left behind.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, man. Times have changed. It's not Rolodex and sheets with customers on. You actually got to use some kind of program, or if you're at that level, you know, you don't want to have a few customers and think that you need a software. You got to build up for that. You know, when it starts getting to be that you're almost missing customers is when it's the time to go ahead and invest in some kind of software.
Right. I would recommend, you know, if you're in this, you know, looking to get software, I would recommend having it. I would recommend having it done custom to your needs. You know, because you know, 2-3 years from now, when you got branch offices across Colorado, you know, you're basically all on the same page rather than having to, you know, have migration done and so on. It's like a headache. But you know, that's further down the trough. You know, like if you're just starting out, you want to try to, you know, concentrate, you know, that money that you're going to be spending on growing the business, marketing. You know,
I think I went January, February, March. I went about 4 months when we first started. I pretty much just did a spreadsheet on Excel, and that's what I used to track what I had to do. And then it started growing. You know, March was one of our busiest months that we had that first few months. And then in April is when I was like, you know, I need to do something because I missed a stop, you know, and that was my fault. So that's when I went ahead and invested. But then I also had money coming in to pay for that. Yeah. You know, a lot of times, you know, a lot of these companies, whatever their prices are per month for one user or whatever, you know, everybody's different. But a lot of times if they're like $50, I mean, that $50 is hard in the beginning. That's $50 you could be using on gas, $50 you could be using on, you know, glue boards or something. You just got to understand when it's the right time to use some kind of software. You don't want to have like 2-3 customers and think that you got to go spend $50 a month on a software where you're only bringing in $200 a month. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You know, you
work within your means.
Yeah, you're basically cutthroating yourself. You know, I mean, when I started out, I was grinding, so it was like, you know what, I'm just going to save my money. And my cousin has a rubbish removal company, and so it's actually like a franchise type of thing. And, you know, he put me onto that. He said, you know, you should hold off and then have the software built for your company where you can pull up your P&L reports, you could see your return on investment, if you're making money, if you're losing money, why you're losing money, what you need to tweak. You know, sometimes, you know, certain things fall off due to weather or et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, that's my opinion. You know, everyone, you know, if you want to go buy whatever software it is, you know, that's good and great, you know. But my advice, if you're starting out in the business, you know, hold off on that. You know, invest in professionalism, invest in your branding, and, you know, build your company up before you start spending money on softwares and so on and so forth.
No, I got to agree with you on that.
I'd rather spend the money on equipment, you know, for the next technician than to have a program that, you know, I'm out in the field and the program is on my computer. You know what I mean? It's not making me any money.
No, I agree with you on that. So, last thing, how can people reach you? Say you got, you know, potential customer wants to get a hold of you, or somebody, you know, needs to get a hold of you. What's your contact info so people can reach out to you?
You know, you can feel free to contact me, you know, 24/7. My phone number is 212-756-9996. You can shoot me an email at info@EcoWisePestNYC.com. And, you know, I'm on Facebook if you want to, you know, come add me as a friend. You can follow us on Instagram. We have a little YouTube channel that we just started. So basically, you know, I'm on different social platforms, and, you know, I invite anyone, if, you know, you want to talk about pest control or non-pest control, or I've been more than happy to speak to anyone about anything.
And what's the website for your company?
EcoWise, PestNYC.com. It's actually under development.
Okay.
So if you do go onto the website, you won't see a website as of yet, but it's under construction.
It's in the works.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you, Vinny, for taking the time to talk to us and letting me do this interview, man. I've had a blast. It's been great, man, and just want to say thank you.
Hey,
thank you for coming on, man.
Once again, thank you for your vote of confidence. I appreciate, you having me on this podcast. I want to give a shout out to everyone involved in it, man. Good luck with it, and let's keep these coming.
All right, man. Until next time, this is Nick Madero and Vinny. We're signing out.
Thank you for listening to The Pest Life on the Pest Geek Podcast. Special thank you, as always, to Mr. Frank Hernandez for allowing me to do this show and have fun with it. To my wife, Angela, for always supporting and believing in me. Also to my 4 kids, Alexis, Alyssa, Nikki, and Nicholas, for all your love and support. Until next time, this is Nick Madero signing out.